they want to make a lot of money. And, to quote Seinfeld, there's nothing wrong with that.
Christopher, it is so good to see you. Thank you so much for taking the time. As
But
always, you have always the greatest perspective and insight. So we have a lot of big stories to get to, but let's start with Meghan and Harry and this Spotify mess. Were you surprised that they mutually decided to end their partnership?
Well, I think if Spotify had come to them with a bag full of cash, another $25 million to re-up, they definitely would have done it. The problem with them was it took them 2 years to really get off. It was a 3-year contract. They really didn't deliver the series until last year, as far as I understand it. And so it aired, and it was very successful and won awards and the highest ratings that Spotify had for a podcast, I believe. But it wasn't, I guess, enough for Spotify. So they said, thanks, but no thanks. And I don't think the Sussexes will have problem placing it someplace else. But one of the big developments, as you know, recently is that Bill Simmons, who's a big deal at Spotify, called them grifters. And I think that's unfair because let's face it, they're you can't really, they want to make a lot of money. And, to quote Seinfeld, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it's a development that we would expect. And it's always been something that there's precedent for this sort of thing, certainly. Looking at the Duchess of York and her endorsements immediately following her departure and, becoming a spokeswoman for Weight Watchers and Wedgwood China and Charles Schwab Investments and Avon, So there's a real precedent, I think, for the royals cashing in, as it were.